Bearizona's 1 o'clock raptor program. I'm Susan, and along with Patty and Mike, we're going to be bringing you the program. There are a couple things that we'd like to go over before we get started. One is photography. If you have a camera, feel free to take all the pictures that you'd like. If you need flash or any kind of attachments, doesn't bother the birds at all. We do ask, though, that if you're in our flight zone, which is this roped-off area, that you do remain seated to take your photographs. And then for questions, we like to wait for the end of the program. It just kind of helps to keep things rolling along. What we usually do is have some of the handlers bring some of the birds back out onto the stage. Or if it's pretty warm, they'll either take them in the shade over there or sometimes over in here. But that way, if you didn't get the pictures that you wanted or you have questions, which hopefully you will, then the handler should be able to help you out there. Then the free flight portion of the program, and to me that's the most fun. Because for a lot of you, the birds are going to be clearing you by about 1/4 inch. And it's pretty much because they don't care about you whatsoever. But we do like to show you where the flight zones are because some people want a really close look at the birds, but not that close. And actually, if it's something that might kind of unnerve you, really the best spots are right over here. And then also on these logs over here. You still get a really good view of the birds, and it can actually be, I think, a better vantage point for taking pictures. But of course, our main perch is from this one on stage. Sometimes the young birds bail from the back, but they're supposed to stop here first. Then we've got a perch right through here, a perch through here, a perch right through here, and then the other 2 perches here and here. So again, if you're in this little roped off area, you're basically in the flight zone. Now, we do ask that if you're in the roped off area that you do remain seated with hands down during the entire program. And that's both as a courtesy to your neighbor, but also for the safety of the birds. They look really substantial, and they are to a certain point, but their bones are pretty much hollow. So trying to stand up to get to a better vantage point, or chasing them around with a camera, anything above your head, or trying to grab at a bird could theoretically break a wing. So we do ask for their protection that everybody does remain seated with hands down during the entire program. And actually, the reason that they're not paying attention to you because Mike's in the back and he's got all the goodies. And if Mike sees somebody standing or standing up and sitting down, he can't fly the bird in that area. He'll have to move them for their safety to another area. And we'd like to have everybody get a really close look at these birds. All right. Well, now I like to make sure that everybody knows why predators are important. You're out here at Bearizona, you've seen all kinds of predators by now, and these birds are no exception. And of course, predators range from the black bear all the way down to the robin. She's a predator too. She's out there helping to keep those bug populations under control. Now, actually, these birds help to keep populations of animals under control. So without raising your hands, we can just shout it out. What do these birds eat?
Insects.
Insects, rabbits, lizards.
Fruit.
Mice? No fruit, but good guess.
Other birds.
Other birds, small children. Yeah, no, just kidding about the small children. But yeah, they actually eat quite a variety of things, just about everything but fruits and vegetables. And I've heard that there's actually one hawk in Central America or something that eats coconuts. So you can't even say that there are none. So. But I'd probably say for the hawks, their favorite, I think, is probably rodents. And the raptor program's fairly new here to Bearizona. We started last summer. When we first got here, we were pretty excited. They finished the stage. We came in. We wanted to take a look at the area before we flew the birds. And what we found really unusual about this small area was the number of rodents. We'd never seen so many rodents in such a small, confined area, and we attributed it to the wood pile. But what was even more amazing, at least to me, is once we started to fly the birds here, it was your classic reintroduction of predators, because since then, we haven't seen a rat, a vole, a shrew. So it shows you that once nature has, yes, everything that it needs, it rebalances itself. So we're pretty sure that problem is behind us, and we're pretty proud of our raptors for taking care of that. All right, well, our first free flight bird's ready to come out here in a second, and we will ask again that everybody remain seated with hands down. Now, the bird that's coming out next is Bella. Bella's 3 years old, and, oh, I'm sorry, Bonnie. She's a Harris hawk. Now, what's interesting about Harris hawks is they're only found in 3 states. They're found in the southern part of Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. We're really lucky to have these birds here. Their stronghold is Central and South America. But what makes these birds so unique is the fact they're social. There's only 2 socially hunting hawks in the world. One's the Galapagos hawk and one's the Harris hawk. Now, to be in the raptor family, there's certain characteristics a bird has to have. Just like if you wanted to be a duck, you have to have the beak bill. If you want to be a raptor, you have to have sharp eyesight, sharp curved beak, and sharp talons. Now, I should probably explain the reason Bonnie's flying so low. I'd like to be able to say we trained her to do this to kind of give you a thrill. But we didn't train her to do it. She's using you. Bonnie knows it's here to fly fly way above you, every wing beat would meet with a lot more air, and she'd have to flap a lot harder. But when she clears you by a quarter inch, the wing beats hit the tops of your heads and give her lift. And I don't know if you've noticed or not, but if you duck, she flies lower. I think she thinks you're trying to help her out, which is really kind of sweet. Now, also, if there's a bit of a gap in between you, she usually doesn't go up and over. That's a waste of energy. She folds her wings and goes right through. These are very efficient flyers. Now, Mike's going to be calling her here to a second in a perch that's not by a lot of people, and you notice how close to the ground she gets, and that's actually what it's called, is ground effect. Is the wing beats are hitting the solid surface of the ground, just like your heads, and it gives her kind of it's kind of a pillow effect. It kind of helps to lift her up. Now, if you live in Phoenix or Tucson, or actually anywhere in southern Arizona, these hawks are pretty common. We don't have them this far north. This is not a cold weather hawk. These guys like the really warm deserts. And today's a beautiful day. She's really enjoying being out. Good job, Bonnie. All right, let's give Bonnie a big hand. She really is a fantastic bird. Good job, Bonnie. All the way. Yep, keep going. But everybody's been checking out the chickens, and we think it's just going to be a matter of time. But hopefully everybody's been pretty good, and the chickens don't seem to be around when we're doing the raptor free flight, so we just keep our fingers crossed. Now, the next family group of raptors that we're going to be bringing out is the family group that can dive at over 200 miles an hour. They're also the mascot of the Air Force Academy. Any guesses? The peregrine falcon. Now, we don't have a peregrine, but we do have another falcon that's native here to Arizona. And if you have a camera, you may want to get it out. This animal's a burst of speed. We're actually going to be releasing him on stage right here. We started at the end of last year. He was doing really great, but he'd come out and he'd do such wide circles that you'd only see him for a second before he was gone, and he'd do about 3 loops, and we'd have to put him up. So Patty's going to release him out here. Hopefully can keep him in the area so you can get some good pictures of him, and hopefully when you get home and you get him on the computer, it won't just be a blur. So Patty, just whenever you're ready. I think they're ready. Uh-oh. Try the dark box. We've actually been, like, wow, we've never had that happen. Poor Patty, I bet that was really an adrenaline surge. Actually, I think we put him in the dark box. He's been a little bit nervous, and yesterday, but actually and the day before, he did his circles, and then he ran, or he flew over behind the wood pile. Whenever Spike goes somewhere, if he doesn't come right back, we have to go and get him. The other birds, you see him and just call him back, not Spike. You take his box, you have to hike over there, you set the box down as soon as he can see you, open it, and he runs, and with his wings open, it's really pathetic, and runs into the box. So we're hoping that maybe, yeah, that was kind of but that got your heart rate up. Okay, Spike, are you in there?
Yeah, backwards. You see the birdie?
Oh, there, I can hear him now. All right. Well, everybody's been just a little bit there. All right, hey, bud. Now, this may not have been what you were expecting, but this is a falcon. This is a crested caracara found in the southern part of Arizona and a member of the falcon family, but not a true falcon, which is probably pretty evident when you're looking at him. Now, the caracaras are fast enough to catch another bird or mammal if they wanted to, but most of the time you see them on the ground. See them trotting through the grasslands, kicking over cow patties, looking for little bugs and lizards and snakes. And then if you look at Spike, he has a real vulture look about him. They like to hang out with vultures. Actually, what they really like to do is find a group of vultures that have been working on a carcass. And they look for the one that's just stuffed itself, and they chase that one around and harass it until it regurgitates.
Ew.
Save them, all that time of having to pull the meat off themselves, and it's already warm and ready to go. So, incredibly intelligent birds. Now, you can also find the caracaras in the southern part of Florida and Texas, but like the Harris hawk, their stronghold is Central and South America, so we are really lucky to have these birds here. And Spike has done fantastic today, besides not being there at the first, but all right, Spike.
Yeah, is that a chicken?
All right, we'll get Spike back in his box. He wants to make sure he's getting all those little worms. He's actually, I think, one of the smartest birds that we actually have. The reason that we call him Spike is because most caracaras can raise and lower their crests at will, just like a roadrunner can. And actually, I think he looks like a giant roadrunner on steroids. But He was actually hit by a car and brought into a rehab facility. He couldn't be released, but when that wound healed, it pulled tight. So now he cannot lower and raise his crest. It's always like that. But we think he looks a lot cooler than the rest of the car cars. All right. Well, now Mike is bringing out our most common falcon in North America. This falcon is found in every state. It's also our smallest. There's only one falcon in the world that's smaller than this, and that's the Seychelles falcon, and it's only a tiny bit smaller. This is the American kestrel. Now, if you want to see a kestrel, to me, one of the easiest places to spot them is in a field. And that's for two reasons. One, a lot of the things they like to eat live there. Crickets, grasshoppers, mice, little birds, stuff like that. And then these birds can hover. This little falcon can beat his wings fast enough to stay motionless in an area to hunt, and that really helps because a lot of times in fields, there's no place to perch. Now, if you're a kestrel and you're only eating crickets and grasshoppers, it's like eating rice cakes or carrot sticks. They just don't stay with you. And you'd have to be eating them all day long just to stay alive. Whereas if you can find one mouse, you are set for the rest of the day. And that's what this little falcon would like to be able to find when he's hovering out there. And it's being able to see into the ultraviolet range that really helps him. Sure, everybody's had a white shirt on before. And if you stand in front of a black light, you'll kind of glow or fluoresce. Or if you're looking for scorpions, they fluoresce in the ultraviolet. Well, so does urine. And if you've ever had a new puppy that you've been trying to housebreak, you think you're doing pretty good, you come home, you know they put it on the carpet somewhere because you can smell it, but you can't find it. You can go to PetSmart right now and buy a stinky finder. And again, that's because urine fluoresces in the ultraviolet, works out great for this little falcon. He sees into the ultraviolet range, and mice to mark their territory dribble urine everywhere they go. He's out there hovering, he can see these fluorescing urine trails, and the fresher the urine, the more it fluoresces. He knows that at one end or the other, he's going to find that mouse. So incredible eyesight. Well, Mike, thank you so much for bringing out the kestrel. All right, and you may have noticed when he was flapping that part of his left wing is gone. We've had Nova for over 9 years now, and he was actually brought in by a family's cat. And actually, I think cats are probably one of the best pets that you can have, but they're probably also the best predators on the face of the earth. And if you want your cat to live longer and be healthier and take less of a toll on native wildlife, especially birds, really the best place for the domestic cat is inside. Well, now we're going to the night shift, so of course we're going to be bringing out the owls. And the first owl that we're going to be bringing out is Buffy, our barn owl. Barn owls are found on every continent except Antarctica, so they're the most widely spread of all birds. And they have the best hearing of any bird on Earth. They've actually found partially blind barn owls hunting in barns doing just fine year after year with basically just their hearing alone. Now, Buffy looks pretty big, and actually the bird that was flying over you, Bonnie weighs over 2 pounds. Buffy weighs less than a pound. And when she comes out, you'll notice that she likes to look around a lot. She's kind of, she's looking around. She's a little nervous. And that's because Buffy knows that she's not on the top of the food chain. So the smaller birds are a little bit more nervous sometimes than the larger birds. Now, Buffy, she'll be out here in just 1 second. We're actually been working with Buffy to try to build her confidence. We usually bring her out on the fist with the cuffs and jesses on and a leash, but Buffy's been doing pretty well now, so we just have her free. Now, they also call these little owls, they call them ghost owls or monkey-faced owls, and I think ghost owls is really appropriate because at night, if you see them, they have a really undulating flight, and they're really light underneath, so they look like a giant ghost, or to me, they look like a butterfly. Now, they also, farmers love these birds. And that's pretty much because their main diet consists of mice. And your average barn owl can eat 1,000 mice a year. If she's with a mate and raising young, 3,000 to 5,000 mice a year. And of course, farmers have found that these natural forms of pesticides are a lot better than the chemicals. And you'll see farms now that have actually barn owl boxes about, every quarter mile or less. Let's see if we can get her attention here. Buffy has also been... we have been flying her at the third program, or bringing her out, but we had to stop because that's when the peacocks tend to show up because they know pretty soon no one's going to be here, and they come in here and get all the snacks. And Buffy is just really petrified of the peacocks. So this is just the first week that we've actually been bringing her out at the second program. And right now I'm going to be really quiet so she can concentrate on Patty. Buff. Oh, there she goes. Good job. All right. Well, Patty, thank you for bringing out Buffy. Giving her a little snack there. All of our training with the birds is done through operant conditioning or positive reinforcement. You can't use any kind of punishment. You can't shame them into doing something like, oh, you bad owl. So it's all just reinforcing the positive and ignoring the negative. And we know that Buffy loves to fly and be out, and if she's comfortable, she'll fly just about anywhere that we want her to fly. If she's not, she's not. So all of our work is worked on making Buffy comfortable. And we really appreciate your patience because it takes a group like this to be able to bring these young birds out and get them used to around people. All right, well, we're going to stick on the night theme, and we're going to be going to a different type of owl. Our most common owl in North America is the great horned owl. Of course, owls have different adaptations to help them to hunt at night that the daytime birds of prey don't have. And one of those adaptations is silent flight. And it's the silent flight that helps the great horn to catch one of its favorite food items, which is a nocturnal mammal that no other predator will mess with. A mountain lion may try it once, but it'll never touch it again. Any ideas what that might be? The skunk, that's right. And that's, of course, because the skunk hears something coming. It whips around, raises that tail. Those predators back off. Well, the skunk never hears the owl coming, and by the time it does, it's too late. As a matter of fact, if you're hiking through the forest and you smell skunk, you should look up. There's actually a really good chance that you're under the nest of a great horned owl. Now, this is Sassy. She's a striped skunk. This is